Welcome. I'm Michael Bickert. Thanks for joining me today as we explore concepts with the objective of improving your management skills and growing your business. I want you to pause the video right now so that you can grab a notepad and a pen. Make sure that you jot down something throughout this interaction, throughout this discussion today that you can use in your business to drive your business forward. Implementation. Jot down an action item. And girl, put your records on. You spin me right round, baby, right round. Like a record, baby, right round, round, round. Today, I want to talk about records. Sorry for that terribly cheesy reference to records, but it's not that kind of records. It's not your vinyl record albums that I want to talk about. I want to talk about records, your peak performances, your best performances of all time. So let me ask you right now, what is the most profitable year that you've ever had since you've been in business? What is the most profitable month? And what month of what year was it? Can you name that off the top of your head? What about sales? What was your greatest level of sales in a specific month or year? And the list can go on and on. What is the maximum number of 5-star Google reviews your business has ever received in a given month? And what is the difference between you and your nearest competitor in terms of how many reviews you have versus what they have? So any way you slice it, you want to start recording your various peak performances. You want to look at, of course, we talk about report cards and performance analytics many times before. And yet, when we've talked about that, we're just talking about benchmarking yourself versus your history, usually last month, year to date, and perhaps last year, and benchmarking yourself against your target, your projections. Well, perhaps you want to make sure that on your report card, you also have listed off to the side your best performance ever in that particular metric. But I wouldn't stop there. Not just those performance analytics, those metrics which are on your report cards are the areas in which you want to record your records. You want to record, and as many as you can possibly think of, all the various things that you record and you keep track of for performance analytics. You want to note when it's a record month. And so how I used to do that was we would have a spreadsheet with all the various things we kept track of, all sorts of different sales by different departments, sales by different items. So think in your business of the various things that you would track and that would be interesting to you. And then what we would do is whenever we would just benchmark that as far back as we have been measuring, we would see, is this the best performance ever? And if so, we call that our record. And so if you use an analogy of sports, it would be ridiculous for, any kind of professional athlete, but even most amateur athletes can tell you what their best performance is. What was your best time if you were a swimmer? I used to be an elite swimmer when I was a kid. What about if you're into track and field? Can you imagine, running the hurdles, running the 100-meter sprint, and you're not recording it, you're not tracking it, or you are, but then you just, forget about it after the meet is over. What about golfers? What is your score? Most people in sports can tell you about their best performance, and they are seeking to improve upon that. So when you're setting goals, in business, it's no different. You should be able to cite what your very best performance is in any number of performance analytics, in any number of categories. And you want to know what your best is. Now, you may not know that off the top of your head, like a golfer might know his best score on a particular course that he's ever played, but he may not know his best scores on all of the courses he's ever played, and he may not know the number of eagles that he shot in his career or whatever. But he may have that recorded somewhere. And that's what you should do in a business. Have a spreadsheet or your database, wherever you're recording all of your information in your performance analytics, your metrics for success. You want to flag which ones are the best ever. And what we used to do is just very simply, we would highlight them. We'd conditionally format so that if it was the best ever, it would highlight in a particular color, let's say green. And then when that was beat in the future, then the previous record we would highlight in a different color, let's say yellow, and green would indicate the new record at all times. So we could quickly scroll through a spreadsheet and find out what our records were. And then the department heads, the various managers, and this concept scales to no matter what size business you have. You might not have department heads and a variety of different managers. It might just be you. You might have a small operation and it may be only you that are managing things, but you can scroll through that and then quickly see what your records are. And then you can determine whether or not that's what you want to project for and you want to try to beat your record. There may be things going on in the economy, in the local market, that give you data and feedback that make it so that you think it might be unrealistic to hit a target or rather a specific record this year or this month. But these are great ways to motivate yourself to look at what is your best performance ever. And the degree to which you record a number of records will also affect how motivated you can get, because if you're only recording, say, profitability in terms of records and you want to have a record profit month, well, if it's not in the cards or it's not likely or realistic this month or this year to set a record, that can be a little demotivating. That's why I loved having, I'm not kidding, I think we had more than 100 different records that we would record and we would look at, and then the various people who were responsible for that area of the business would ascertain whether or not there is a particular record we can hit. And you don't have to do things, like when we talk about profitability and we say that you might want to try to achieve a record profitability this month or this year, that could be dollar figure wise, or it could be percentage of revenue. Remember, you can record things in different ways and measure things differently so that you have more things to try to shoot for, and they give you a little bit of different feedback. My point today was, though, when we look at records, they can be very motivational, and you could say, well, this month wasn't that great in terms of overall sales. The market is down. The economy is struggling in our area, or the financial picture throughout international scene is really bad right now, so we didn't expect. However, as a percentage of sales, our profit margin is really good, or we did really good on, like I said, another metric, performance metric, like perhaps your reviews that you get, the number of testimonials you collected from customers, you set a new record on that. You look and try to always find some records that you can realistically shoot for and really work, and then communicate that with your other stakeholders in the team and say, this is what we're going for, guys, let's do this. Make it fun, put a little contest. You don't have to have a huge bunch of money at stake that you have to pay out big spiffs and bonuses every time you achieve a record, but it is fun. People like to be recognized. So make sure that you're going out of your way to recognize those responsible when they hit a new record. Congratulate them publicly. If you have a meeting, do it in the meeting in front of their peers. If you're not having meetings like that, then you can certainly do something, make up a certificate and send it out to the person and carbon copy everyone else so that they know. You can even announce things to your customers and to your database of customers, making commendation to people who have outstanding performance. Or you can even announce your customer, sort of thank your customers. Thank you very much. We set a record this year. And all those things are positive and they're very encouraging to you and to your people. And so I would encourage you to find different ways that you can use the concept of records month to month, even day to day. You might have a weekly record or the amount of sales in a particular one day. How many widgets did you sell on a particular day, and what was your production level? Also look to conversions, like this is the most number of unique visitors we had on our website in a given month. We set a record there. Or we had more new subscribers to our YouTube channel than ever before. Any way you can look at this, just record as many. Brainstorm. That's your homework today. On that notepad that you grabbed at the beginning, remember when you paused the video? That's your homework today. Jot that down. You're going to brainstorm as many different performance metrics that you can think of that you've been recording or that you wish to record going forward, so that you can track your records, and then make a plan for where are you going to track these things, and then look at them with other stakeholders, communicate, and see which ones are realistic that you can beat, and always be trying to best your performance, beat your best performance and set new records. Every entrepreneur knows, and all managers know, that it's very difficult to survive and thrive in business. And so you need to come up with ways to, sort of celebrate your success, look forward to things. And this is just one more way. And it may sound obvious. Oh, of course, Michael, we know what performance metrics are and that it's important to measure these things. But at the beginning of the video, when I asked you, what was your most profitable month in your history? Or what is the largest number of unique visitors you've had on your website ever? If you can't name those things, that's okay. But do you know where you can go and get that information right now? And if not, that's what I'm getting at. Start recording that stuff and then put it front and center. Post these things in a place where your key stakeholders and those people responsible for the achievement of these performance metrics can see them, can access them, and make it part of their usual routine every month to look at and to determine where they might be able to set a new record. My mind was wandering there for a minute because I kind of got off of this, but I said to you earlier, make it fun, create some sort of competition, some kind of game out of it. And even if it's just you, reward yourself when you accomplish a record. Put something in place, some kind of carrot for yourself, for your team. If we achieve this record, we're going out for dinner. Or if we achieve this record, coffee and donuts on me. Or, it doesn't have to be super expensive. That's where I got onto the recognition, the commendation, the recognition, celebrating your people's success publicly is a really good thing. But if you're a smaller operation and it's just you and another, or just even you that the business is on, then make a commitment to yourself that if I accomplish this, I'm going to do this reward for myself. And again, it's really common in all other aspects of like a person who's lifting weights might know what their heaviest bench press is, or what is the maximum number of repetitions they got with a specific weight when they're doing their curls or whatever. People who run, they know their times. And I'm not just talking professionals. People who jog to work, they track this stuff. And it's all about trying to outperform the past and make their best ever. That's what it's about. It's got to be about that in business. Again, I always like to remind you, if you're not doing this kind of stuff and your competition is, they're just going to get ahead of you, and you can't afford for that to happen. So find ways to make some fun with it and reward yourself and your team. Track this stuff. I think that's where I'm going to leave it today. Records, is it something that you are paying close attention to? When's the last time you broke a record? Let's make this the month that you're going to break at least one record. So leave something in the comments and let me know what you think about tracking records as a part of performance analytics. Is there a particular way you do it? What kind of rewards do you give yourself and your team for setting a record? And just leave something that we can all learn from. We want to learn from one another. Perpetual refinement.